Hey, welcome back. I'm Art Tellings, the local overanalyzer, and I've been following Dragon Ball games since I was a kid. But because of the sheer volume of them and how life tends to get difficult, there's a few titles I've either not touched or sped through so quick that I've missed what the developers were trying to convey. Today, we're diving into the base game of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and to be honest, I don't remember much about its launch. It all feels like a blur. But that kind of makes the revisit more exciting, especially after how much I enjoyed those DLCs. Feels like coming back to a game with a familiar story and a brand new set of eyes. We don't get many still moments in Dragon Ball. Most of the time it's yelling, fighting, and planet-threatening beams, but Kakarot opens on a quiet note. Goku and Gohan walking through Mount Paozu, enjoying a simple life. The game wants you to feel the peace these characters live in before the storm hits. It's reflective of that old turtle hermit lifestyle.
Study well and eat and sleep plenty. That's the turtle hermit way to learn.
Everything in the game. Now there's this long-running joke in the fandom about Goku being a bad dad. And I've laughed at those too, but scenes like this add some perspective. Goku's not neglectful, he's just Goku. He enjoys the little things even if he doesn't always handle parenting in that traditional way. There's a gentle side to him that shines here, and Kakarot gives it time to breathe. Gohan, of course, is nothing like him. He's quiet, nervous, and completely unsure of the world around him. The moment where Goku places the Dragon Ball on his hat feels like a symbol this child still afraid of the world is about to be thrown into something far bigger than he ever could realize. We're introduced to the game's first major RPG system, the community board. You collect soul emblems from characters and place them on the themed board to increase stats. There's some strategy involved here, placing certain characters unlocks little dialogue bonuses and synergy boosts. It's a subtle way to engage with the cast and rewards you for exploring. We then head to Kami House to reconnect with familiar faces. The models here still hold up very well visually. Sometimes the hair physics behave oddly, especially with Goku's, but for the most part, the presentation is still strong. Krillin in particular looks great here, maybe the best he's ever looked in a 3D Dragon Ball game. He's absolutely ripped and makes it seem like he's been watching the Trend Twins off Master Roshi's TV set.
Neat!
The first side quest is a nice nod to Legacy of Goku. Find Master Roshi's magazines. It's small but made me smile. That game meant a lot to me growing up. I didn't have access to many titles as a kid, so I played a lot of the Legacy of Goku series. Seeing it referenced here brought back a lot of those memories, but then, that friendly tone shifts.
What is it? It ain't no meteor!
Raditz arrives, a mysterious Saiyan with history, power, and bad intentions. These days, he's not seen as a major threat, but back then, this changed everything. Goku had just finished fighting demons and winning local tournaments. Suddenly, he's being told he's from space, and his brother, who wants him to conquer Earth, is a major turning point for the series. Soon after, we take control of Piccolo, and this is where the world really opens up. You're given freedom to explore, complete side quests, and interact with old characters. There's a lot of care put into this section. You might run into Launch chasing her car, or other classic callbacks. These details help the world feel alive and grounded in the history of Dragon Ball. The Raditz fight itself is solid though. One small gripe I had was the lack of battle damage. It might sound minor for you guys, but for fans who grew up with games like Tenkaichi 3, it was always cool detail to see a gi rip or a cape tear. Helps sell the weight of the fight, especially when the stakes were high. After the fight, Raditz kidnaps Gohan, and the game subtly begins Piccolo's redemption arc. He doesn't realize it yet, but his choice to team up with Goku will change him forever. That arc began when Goku spared him at the end of the tournament, and starts to build here in real time.
Hey Piccolo, mind if I ask you something?
What is it?
You're not human either, right?
Yeah?
And your dad spit you out as an egg, right?
What about it?
Are you a Yoshi?
Yes, Goku. I'm a green f***ing dinosaur.
Can I ride you?
Back in the overworld, there are more side quests, nostalgic in the best ways. You run into Ader, who's still trying to clean up what's left of the Red Ribbon Army, and Nam, who's back to help his village. The only thing I do question here is why Goku doesn't say anything about his situation. The only idea that came to mind was that these could be done later in the game as well, so leaving Goku with a neutral response could make that it doesn't reflect the story. But I'd have to test this out in the future. Honestly, with the size these worlds have, I feel like I'm going to miss one. I'm definitely stopping on my way to hit them all, but if I did or missed an Easter egg somewhere, please let me know in the comment section. Before flying into fight Raditz, we're introduced to the cooking/eating system. Meals offer temporary and permanent stat boosts, and they become especially helpful during tougher fights. If you're underleveled or just looking for an edge, taking the time to cook and eat a meal makes a real difference here. And then comes the Raditz rematch. And this fight can be tough. Those wide range key attacks hit hard, and you need to stay alert. It feels like a proper early game test. Enough to push you, but it's fair. The game actually tells you where the boss is going to send the blasts, highlighted red on-screen notifications. Doesn't mean you can always get out of the way of them though. That mod I had installed during Bardock's run-through made it easier, but even with it I had to stay sharp. And then, one of the most iconic scenes in Dragon Ball plays out.
His power level, it's 1330. He's focusing all of his power into his fingertips. Damn it! He's got that much control over his energy! You let your guard down! Now I got your tail! Damn it!
Raditz begs for mercy, manipulating Goku's compassion. Goku hesitates, and Raditz takes advantage of it. If even a part of him meant what he said, maybe things would have gone much differently. Then, Gohan explodes. That scared little boy becomes a force of nature, headbutting Raditz with a burst of energy no one expected. It's a turning point not just in the fight, but in the story. For Piccolo, for Goku, and for all of us playing the game. Goku grabs Raditz, holds him in place, and Piccolo fires the special beam cannon.
Special beam cannon!
This is the first major death to the Z part of the story, and what stands out is that it's not a triumphant moment. Goku doesn't win through power or skill, he wins by giving up everything. It's a quiet, powerful message that stays with you through this arc. Now I'm used to watching this scene in every Dragon Ball game, but at the time this was published back in the Weekly Shonen Jump, it must have been a shock. The hero gone, just like that. Toriyama was bold. I know they gave him flack for growing Goku, but killing him only a few chapters after the age up is insane. The warning has been given to Earth by dying Raditz. The Saiyans are coming, and the cast need to prepare. There's a quiet tension hanging over everyone now. The kind that only settles when you realize the world might not be the same after what's next. We get our first real glimpse at Vegeta and Nappa, and it's immediately clear. This is a different kind of villain they've seen so far. Vegeta isn't loud or chaotic, he's calm, cold, focused. Only on his own growth, his own goals. There's no care for others, no hesitation, he's here to conquer.
We're gonna bring Raditz back from the dead? Don't make me laugh. We have no more use for that dead weight. We could wish for eternal youth, for immortality. Can you imagine it?
Meanwhile, Goku's story continues in the afterlife where he's granted the rare chance to train with King Kai. It's a pivotal moment for his character, but gameplay-wise, there's a small missed opportunity. The game skips over Snake Way, and while I understand the pacing choice, even a short interactive segment would have made the journey feel more tangible, especially since much of Kakarot's strength is in slowing down to live in these moments. Back on Earth, we're dropped into Gohan's perspective, alone, scared, and lost in the wilderness. And this is where the game's storytelling through gameplay shines again. We've gone from high-speed flight to something grounded, uncertain. It's not just a narrative tone that's changed, it's how you play. You feel the helplessness, you feel the vulnerability. While playing as everyone else up until this point, the world looks so small. You feel larger than life, but here you can barely see what danger is looming around the corner. And danger there is. A dinosaur closes in, Gohan's power erupts again, and wild, instinctive, and untapped potential. Thankfully, he's saved just in time by his own power. There's a quiet brilliance here in how Kakarot contrasts father and son. If this was Goku as a kid, as many of us remember in the original Dragon Ball, he'd already be roasting the dinosaur over a fire, but Gohan is different. He's sensitive, afraid, and alone. We swap back to Piccolo, who's watching over Gohan from a distance. We're giving a side quest to destroy some rogue Red Ribbon robots that pose a threat, then he gathers food for the boy. It's such a simple task, but it's powerful in context. The old Demon King wouldn't have considered this, but this isn't that man anymore. And here's where something clicked for me. Something I never really considered before. King Piccolo understood martial arts. He studied the world through battle, and most forms of martial traditionally in Eastern philosophies emphasize reflection and balance. Maybe Goku planting the seed of compassion didn't just change his reincarnation. Maybe it allowed this Piccolo to finally begin questioning the path that killed his former self. There's a spiritual undercurrent here that's easy to overlook, but the more I sat with it, the more it made sense. Reflection, growth, it's all here.
Little twerp and
Then night falls. Gohan looks up and the full moon fills the sky. The transformation is immediate. The Saiyan child becomes the legendary Ozaru. The boss fight is a highlight. The scale is massive and CC2 once again delivers with a spectacularly animated scene. The sense of weight, the shockwaves, the way the energy floods through the screen, it's stunning, and it doesn't just look good, it feels powerful, like you're up against a massive threat.
What in the hell's going on?
Piccolo remembers the truth of the Saiyan tail, and rather than simply removing it, he obliterates the moon itself. Demon King is gone, and in his place something else is beginning to peek out of the soil. We catch back up with Gohan, still alone in the wilderness, but something's changed. He's not the scared, helpless child we first met. He's a little more confident in his steps now. We're given the ability to run again, but not to fly. The restriction matters. It keeps us grounded, close to the world like Gohan still is. The scale feels smaller, but not in a bad way. It reflects Gohan's growing, but he's not there yet. He still has a long road ahead. His current goal? Simply to survive. Find some meat. That's it. And in the process, he runs into Yajirobe, who was supposed to be looking for, well, Gohan. He gave up halfway through because food. It's just who Yajirobe is. It's a small moment, but it brings some levity to the otherwise lonely arc. This leads into the game's reoccurring mechanic, hunting animals for food. You can chase wildlife down, collect meat, and gradually get introduced to the cooking system. It's a light, but it works well to connect back to the themes of survival and training. It reminds you that these characters live in the world, but they're just not fighters, they're people. Another feature introduced is key sensing. It's more than just a mechanic, it's a world building tool. You can feel the energy radiating off of living creatures, and when you pick up the signature of stronger foes, it's staggering. They radiate power in a way that feels dangerous. It's a subtle, elegant way of reinforcing scale, not just who's strong, but how strong, and without having to spell it. With the meat gathered and Yajirobe heading back to train at Kami's, we unlock another community board, and from here the pacing picks back up. We jump ahead in time and drop into Piccolo's solo journey. By now, Kami's initial preparation is complete, and the rest of the Z-Fighters are scattered across the world, honing their skills for the Saiyan arrival. And it's here that Kakarot does something really smart. It lets us check in on each one of them, not through cutscenes, but through gameplay. First up is Tien. When Piccolo finds him, Tien doesn't hesitate to test his strength. It's a solid character moment. Tien's pride and discipline are still intact. He wants to know how far he's come, but the fight ends with a reality check. Piccolo's still on another level. Tien loses, but he walks away with a clear goal and a new bar to reach. There's a side quest that happens after you beat Tien where Chaozu tries to sneak attack Piccolo. It highlights how far Chaozu is willing to go for Tien. Their bond is tight, they fight together, they train together. They trust each other. It's a small remember how much heart these background characters are really carrying in this game. Next is Krillin. And this is where things get interesting. Piccolo doesn't just acknowledge Krillin, he praises him. The growth Krillin's undergone in a short amount of time. There's a bit of banter, even a callback to their World Tournament fight, a moment sadly glossed over in the DLC, but at least it's remembered here. The dialogue's subtle, but meaningful. You can tell Piccolo respects him. That's not something the old him would have admitted. We finally get to Yamcha. Yamcha's encounter with Piccolo is different. There's no tension, no fear. He's not bitter about the past. He's actually really confident. Too confident. And just wants to see where he stands. It's a refreshing bit of personality, even if the outcome is predictable. Piccolo humbles him, but even then, instead of mocking him, he gives Yamcha advice. Real advice. Train harder. That's a far cry from a Demon King we once knew. Each one of these interactions do have a follow-up in the story, but I'll leave that as is for now. Shifting again to Goku, who finally finds King Kai's planet. We get a little comedy here. The kind of gag King Kai is known for, but the actual training, it's all off screen. Goku's strength is meant to be climbing fast, but the player doesn't really feel it. And that's a shame. For anyone who played the Tenkaichi games, you might remember a training sequence when you fight a ghost of Raditz during your time with King Kai. It was a smart way to showcase Goku's growth through gameplay, a way to reflect progress through action. Kakarot doesn't quite do that here, and it feels like a missed opportunity. But still, the pieces are falling into place. The tension is rising, and you can feel it. The Saiyans are almost here. Back with Gohan, the game introduces us to another survival mechanic, first-person ki blast hunting. You can shoot down bigger animals to harvest meat for cooking recipes. It's not something I use often, but it does add a layer of immersion, a reminder that the world exists beyond the battles. Before the next step in his training, Gohan learns how to fly. I couldn't help but wonder, was this the same method he used years later when teaching Videl and Goten? There's a quiet beauty in the cyclical growth, but mechanically I also thought about how moments like this might have benefited from the ground combat which was introduced in the later DLC. Watching Gohan run, climb, then finally soar, it's effective, but there's potential that feels untapped. There's a side quest that takes place around here, and honestly it caught me off guard with how much I ended up loving it. Gohan ends up saving fortune teller Baba, a quick, almost throwaway moment in gameplay terms, but what comes next is anything but forgettable. As thanks, she offers to read his fortune. What she sees, it's not clear-cut. His future is described as dark, dim, and uncertain, but at the end of it all, there's a glimmer of light, a single thread of hope piercing through everything else. And it makes you wonder which future she was really seeing. Was it the path where Gohan fights for survival, clinging to that warrior life that world forced him onto? Or was it the life he quietly dreams of? One where he's a scholar, a father, someone who thrives not because of how hard he punches, but because of the peace he finally finds.
goes nothing! Alright. Playtime's over, Pipsqueak! Man, talk about a sight for sore eyes! Jutsu! This has gotta be some kind of nightmare! Where are you, Goku? We need your help!
Then comes one of the saga's most meaningful chapters, Gohan and Piccolo's training. Their first match ends and they rest atop the mountain range. The air is still, the mood's reflective. Gohan in his innocence talks to Piccolo not as a demon, not as an enemy, but as a person. He tells him his father believes there's good in him, that he believes it too. Piccolo, who's built himself around hatred and solitude, hears those words and falters. Not because they're wrong, but because deep down he fears they might be right. From here the tone shifts, again. Gohan is no longer the frightened child we saw earlier. Now he's gliding through the skies with a new sense of freedom. But that confidence is hard-earned. Piccolo trains him with a rigor that borders on cruel. It's not malice, but it's belief in his power. He's determined to draw all of it out. Gohan, unsure of himself, breaks under the pressure and tries to fly home when Piccolo's not looking. On his way, he saves Puar from some powerful new enemies. Villainous foes are tougher variants of the standard wild NPC. They don't have a smarter AI, they just do more damage. Puar compares Gohan to Goku, and you can see it begin to register with the kid. The bar his father unknowingly set become his ceiling, and he doesn't know yet how to climb past it. But he returns, and that alone says a lot. Now this whole arc speaks to me. I've trained in the gym for years, and I've seen people want to quit until they hit a new PR or catch a glimpse of their progress. That emotional low, that urge to give up when life gets hard, that's real. And that's why Gohan is my favorite character. He's the most human one of them all. Piccolo watches from a distance. He doesn't say it out loud, but he's proud. The game gives us another optional mechanic, taking down the Red Ribbon army bases. It's simple, but it grounds the world in the history and the consequences from Goku's past that still linger. After another round of training, Piccolo does something subtle but powerful. He calls Gohan by his name for the first time, then gives him his own gi. It's more than an outfit, it's a symbol of trust and mentorship. Meanwhile, Goku's finally revived, but it has to make the long trip down Snake Way. King Kai forgot how long it would take for him. When the tension builds, the Saiyans are nearly here. Referring back to earlier when I said that this gameplay segment would have really helped if they had a Snake Way portion. This game does a very good job at storytelling through gameplay. So if it would have taken us a lot longer to get to the original route than the second route having us fly through, it would have really impacted Goku's training to the player.
So this is Earth. Not a bad-looking planet. Guess we should go pay our respects to the little twerps, huh?
The Saiyans arrive. A single explosion levels the city. You can see it from space. The game doesn't hold back, and it reminds you immediately that these are not opponents that you can take lightly. The group confronts Vegeta and Nappa, and in a few lines, Vegeta reveals how much he knows about the universe, about Namekians, about their magical abilities. He's more than just a brute, he's strategic and calculating. The contrast between him and Nappa is intentional and sharp. Nappa wants to play with the Earthlings and then sends out the Cybermen. The Green Demons step up to fight, and instead of giving you access to play as Yamcha, you team up with him to defeat them. He's a partner in the fight, which is strange because we've been given access to play as Tien in the DLC, so I wonder if they just decided not to do it, because it would have been a one-time shot.
I guess those little monsters weren't as tough as you thought they were. I'll finish the rest of them off by myself. What?
Yamcha! What the? He blew himself up.
The cockiness he had earlier with Piccolo ends up being his downfall again, after not checking to see if he did win that fight. Loss doesn't get more sudden than this. The Cyberman blows up in his face and leaves him in the dirt. It's the first reminder that the fight is not one they were ready for. Now, here comes Nappa. He lands with the weight of a planet, the music drops out, and the game doesn't exaggerate his power, it really does let you feel it. Every attack sends the ground flying, every boss fight has their own mechanic, and each one suits the character attached to it. Nappa has a massive ki blast that can do insane AoE damage if you get in it. Tien tries to hold him back and he loses his arm, still fighting, still standing. Chaozu can no longer watch, and decides to help Tien with one final blast.
Chaozu, what are you doing?
Farewell, Tien! Please don't die!
No! Don't do it! Chaozu! Chaozu! That kinda tickled.
And follows up with his final blast. One arm left, very little ki remaining, and no hope, just the will to try. He sends one final ki koho, and again does nothing to
Not
Nappa.
going to let your death be in vain. Try beam!
3 warriors down, and the Saiyans haven't even broken a sweat. Piccolo, Gohan, and Krillin are all that's left, and the game leans into that desperation. There's no false hope here, just minutes ticking away until Goku returns, if he can make it in time.
Where are you, Goku? We need your help!
What follows is one of Gohan's defining moments, and CC2 does such a wonderful job in showcasing the desperation in Piccolo's movement here to get to Gohan. All the way back at the 23rd Budokai, when Goku offered a hand to the demon who tried to kill him, a seed was planted, and throughout the first half of this game, we see that seed slowly grow. And here, on Earth's broken surface, where a child is screaming and silence stretches across the battlefield, those seeds bloom.
All right. Playtime's over, Pipsqueak! You're dead!
Mr. Piccolo!
Piccolo doesn't die a villain, he dies a mentor and as one of Earth's greatest heroes. While slowly fading out of life, he tells Gohan how he and his dad's softness rubbed off on him, and right before dying, he emits,
I want you to know, you're the only real friend. The only real friend I ever had.
"The moment alone is why I wanted to play this game in the chronological order. It makes this scene feel much heavier, and it's always regarded as one of the top moments in Dragon Ball, but here, it really lands with genuine emotional weight."
You better not die, Gohan.
Before Nappa can land the killing blow on Gohan, Goku arrives. Seconds too late to save Piccolo, but just in time to stop Nappa. The fight here doesn't really change from previous encounters. I actually didn't even notice any gameplay storytelling. Vegeta ends up calling Nappa off of Goku, and Nappa charges at Gohan and Krillin. But before he can get close, Goku disables him in a flash, sparing Nappa with the same way he has with every enemy before. Again, done in a cutscene. It would have been really cool to actually be able to finish him off with a cool attack.
Okay!
Vegeta, seeing his partner down, flings Nappa into the sky and destroys him in one blast. A stark reminder of the difference between these two Saiyans. Goku has done everything in his power to save his friends and comrades. Vegeta only uses others for his own gain. I actually do like how the game lets you fly to a new location rather than just starting you off there in a new cutscene. I know it's almost meaningless, but it reminds me of Budokai 3. The duel that follows highlights a thematic tension Dragon Ball explores deeply. Goku embodies relentless perseverance, the belief that effort and heart can overcome destiny. Vegeta represents elitism, born to be great or destined to be nothing. The clash isn't just physical, it's ideological. That layer adds richness to what could have been just another fight. Vegeta's boss fight is mechanically simple but frustratingly enough. He darts around punishing any lapse in focus. It's a perfect mirror of Vegeta's character, sharp, unforgiving, and always on edge. Then we get the iconic beam clash.
Don't fail me now. Kaioken times 3! And now, Kamehameha! There's no way that you can stop my Dragon! You and this planet are as good as space dust!
Goku, the underdog, stands tall against Elite Saiyan Prince, who cares only for power. It's one of the most beautifully animated moments in the game so far, and it really shows in every frame how much care was put into it. The transition to Vegeta's Grade 8 form is a letdown though. The boss fight here is lackluster, there's no challenge, and it's strange that Goku never even comments on it, given how significant the transformation is in the story. When Goku calls on the planet's energy for the Spirit Bomb, it's a fragile moment, a plea for life from a world he was meant to destroy, but Vegeta abruptly snatches Goku away, undercutting the hope faster than you can grab your morning energy drink. We swap to Gohan and we fly back to save Goku. It's really cool though, you can see the giant ape from the sky. The team cuts off Vegeta's tail in a cutscene. I would have liked another boss fight here though, truthfully. Goku explains the Spirit Bomb to Krillin and we see Gohan relentlessly attacking Vegeta in the background, embodying the game's message that power isn't just raw strength, but conviction. Even though the Spirit Bomb misses Vegeta, Gohan manages to push it back because there's no evil in his heart. A nice callback to early in the game when Goku says Gohan can clear the Nimbus because he's pure-hearted. The team cheers, but it's short-lived. Vegeta is still standing. Gazing beyond Vegeta, Gohan transforms into the Great Ape again, thanks to that artificial moon Vegeta created. Gohan rushes Vegeta, and Vegeta copies Krillin's Destructo Disc to slice off Gohan's tail. The giant ape falls on top of him, laying him out clean.
How can I?
Goku's plea to spare Vegeta for one last fight hints at the complex bonds between rivals, a testament to the series' recurring theme that enemies can become something closer to family. The Goku effect, as everyone calls it. As the dust settles, Krillin reminds us that there's still hope, that somewhere out there Namekian holds key to undoing all this tragedy. The arc closes with a simple message, next time on Dragon Ball. The credits roll and intermission begins and the journey continues. The Saiyan Saga and Kakarot caught me off guard. I thought I knew the story inside and out by now, but somehow playing through it again really hit different. Moments I've seen hundreds of times felt heavier here. Goku's sacrifice, Gohan's fear, that deafening silence after Piccolo takes the blast. The game just doesn't show you those moments, it really makes you sit with them. And when it hands you Gohan, fresh off that trauma, scared, shaken, completely out of his depth, you experience it just like you were there. He feels much weaker and you barely have any variety of techniques to choose from. You're not stepping into the legend, you're stepping into someone who's still learning how to stand. What surprised me most was how well the game captures that growth though, not just in the story beats, but how it plays. Every encounter felt like a lesson, every struggle like a stepping stone. Sure, some moments like Gohan's rage spikes get trimmed down more than they deserve, but what is here, it lands and it still resonates. For all its flaws, the Saiyan Saga and Kakarot reminded me why I love this arc. It's not just about fights, it's not nostalgia, it's about becoming something greater. It's about the broken standing back up, the scared learning to fight, and the selfish choosing to protect. It's about what happens in the quiet and the in-between, when someone decides they want to do better. And to me, that's Dragon Ball at its best. Thank you guys for sitting here and listening to me out about Dragon Ball. I love this series, and I have not had so much fun doing something creatively in a while, as I do not know how to edit. When I first started this channel, I had absolute zero clue what I was doing, and I still would say I probably know about 1% of the editing process. I'm just able to scratch a creative itch I've been having and learn something new in the process. Technically, this is a re-upload because I had posted part 1 of a 2-parter and the audio was horrible. So I'm absolutely sorry for that, and I removed it because I refuse to keep something that I'm not happy with on the channel, even if this is just like a passion hobby of mine. But we're heading to Namek next time, and I can only imagine what's in store for us. Until next time, have yourself a damn good one. Peace.